Hey guys, EACar.1. Got a slightly different HID review for you today. Today I'm going to install an HID in my bike. Now if you do a lot of country road riding like I do, you know how dangerous deer can be. And if we can get a little more power out of this light and maybe see that deer just a little bit quicker, or even just city riding in the daytime, if we can make ourselves a little more visible to the other cars on the road, maybe make them a little less likely to pull out in front of us, I'd say it's worth a try. Now this is a Kensun kit. This is one I've never used before. Read good things about it, so we're going to try this out. This is a 35 watt 5000K kit. We'll go ahead and get this open and see what comes in the box. Now you've probably already noticed that this isn't your average cardboard box that most HIDs come in. You get this nifty little aluminum briefcase looking thing. Now is that going to make your HIDs work better? Probably not, but it looks kind of neat, I guess. Your handy little instruction book. Not going to need that. We've got our harness controller. This is going to actually physically move the bi-xenon HIDs up and down. Now this is a standard kit, so it comes with 2 ballasts and 2 bulbs. Obviously, because it's a bike, we're only going to use 1 bulb and 1 ballast, but that's okay. We'll have a spare in case one goes bad. You got your ballast. And it does actually feel like an aluminum case ballast. Decent amount of weight to it, if you guys get excited about that sort of stuff. Because it also feels like it's got a plastic cover on the back. I don't know if that's a deal breaker for you. I don't really care as long as it works. Got your H4 bi-xenon bulbs. This little pigtail here is going to go to that controller harness there, and that's actually what's going to physically move that bulb up and down for high and low beams. And you got these nifty little brackets I probably won't use. Now, these would screw onto the back of your ballast, and then you could screw it on somewhere in your car or something, but probably not going to be able to use them on the bike. Now the hardest part about this installation is going to be finding a place to put all this nonsense in the tight quarters you have on a bike. And all this has to be mounted within that far from your headlight. And keep in mind, your handlebar is going to be turning, so that's going to be the hardest part, finding a place to mount this big fat igniter and even the slim ballast. But we'll figure it out. Alright, for the easy part, we got the headlight out. Take off your little boot. Got a little wire that snaps this in place. Move that out of the way and get your old bulb out of there. And this actually twists to come apart. Put that in there. Lock her back in with the wire. And put your boot back on. Make sure you don't touch that bulb on anything. Get any fingerprints or anything like that on there. Get that stretched around that little plug there. And then we can put this back in. There it is. There's the easy part. Now, like I said, for the hard part, we got to find a place to mount all this. Alright, we've got the headlight back on the bike. Got a couple of wires run through the housing. Coming out the back side of the housing there. So we still got to find a place to mount this big ugly controller harness here. Got my wires for the HID coming through the back. Got to try and find a place to mount this igniter and the ballast, so I'm going to have to pull the gas tank off. Hopefully I can find a place to hide it up under the gas tank. You got this power wire. It's got to run back to the battery, which is about 1 foot short, so I'm going to have to extend that wire, make it longer so it'll reach my battery. And we've got this big old harness here, which would be for your other headlight if we were installing it on a car, which we're not, so I'm just going to have to probably just cut that off and heat shrink it up so it's sealed up and doesn't get any corrosion. I guess if you wanted to, you could just wrap it up and zip tie it somewhere, hide it under the gas tank or something, but... And then we got this ground wire for the ballast. Got a bolt right up in there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to try and mount that right to that bolt. Alright, I got my gauge pod off, and I found a place to hide all this stuff so I don't actually have to remove my whole gas tank. Gonna be able to mount the ballast, the igniter, and this little control box all right here under my gauge pod. Now for the ballast, got some of this industrial strength Velcro, big fat wide sheet of it. I'll go ahead and put a piece of that on the inside of my gas tank, put a piece on the ballast, stick that in place right there. That'll hold that nice and firm. And we'll go ahead and zip tie the igniter in there, zip tie this control box there, and that part will be done. I also went ahead, cut off this extra wire like I said, and heat shrink the other end of it so we don't have to worry about it shorting out on anything or toss that. We don't need that anymore. I'm also going to toss this cheesy little fuse holder they give you. It's not waterproof. Probably wouldn't take long to get water in there and get it corroded, then you don't have a headlight. And I'm going to go ahead and use one of these, nice sealed up waterproof. Got the cap to keep it waterproof. I'm going to go ahead and use one of those instead. Alright, there it is, all mounted up. This little cubby hole worked great, just like it was designed for HIDs. Got my ballast, Velcro to the side of the tank there. Put another piece of Velcro on this side for my igniter, so that's nice and firm right there. Got my little control box zip tied down there. That's all set, just got to put the gauges back on. Alright, we got it all wired up and put back together. Let's fire it up and see how it looks. Notice a pretty sharp cutoff line on the stock halogen headlights for the low beams. There's the high beams. It'll be interesting to see if the HIDs have that same nice sharp straight cutoff line. Alright, and here's the HID. Gotta wait a minute for it to warm up, of course. Now, there is definitely a different pattern with the HID than the halogen. Especially with the high beam, you notice you don't get as much light on the ground on high beams as you did with the stock halogen bulb. Pretty bright though. Alright, just for comparison, I took a quick ride with the GoPro with the stock halogen bulb just to see the before. That's the stock low beams. And here's our test ride with the HID. It's definitely bright. It does have a different pattern though, especially with the high beams. You notice a lot less light on the ground in front of you, which would be because of that metal shroud around the bi-xenon HID bulb. Here's your high beams, low beams. So you notice on high, not nearly as much light on the ground in front of you. It's definitely bright though. Any HID, any street sign pretty much blinds you.